This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Hour number 3 here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. John Saber, Damian Mitchell here with you. Guys are getting ready for the college football season at their college football seminar, making sure they got all their news and notes, points of attack for the college football season as they deliver the best broadcast in college football. Both Cole and Greg do a wonderful job. Appreciate them letting us hop on in, having some fun here this morning. And I want to go back to some of the clips that we heard a little bit earlier, hear from some of the coaches around the SEC, and kind of, just recapping what we heard in the second hour, discussing, Jam Miller. Ryan Grubb spoke very highly of him coming into the season, and just where do we think this Alabama offensive identity could be? Are they going to get back to the ground and pound attack to take some of the pressure off whoever is the quarterback this season? But let's hear from Steve Sarkisian, Texas head football coach, as he kind of gives a recap and just some situational football stuff.
I thought we responded, really well with a lot of different aspects of the game that we've gotten ourselves into. We're through a lot of the first, second down work, done plenty of third down work, and we just started the red zone today. So situational football is alive and well for us as we'll continue to grow and not just installing plays, but learning how to play the game the way we want to play it.
And it's going to look different because now they got a new sheriff in town. It's funny that his uncle's nickname was the sheriff. But Arch Manning takes over as the Texas QB this season, and there is high praise. And again, we understand that last name carries a ton of weight, but he's also been a Manning his entire life, so I think he kind of understands. I know what my uncles did. I was there for it. For the NFL version of them. But I do think that with Texas and everything that they have returning, both offensively and defensively, and we know how good of a coach, not even good, how great of a coach Steve Sarkisian is, I think that I can understand why Texas feels like, it's almost there. If they're going to, quote unquote, be back, this is probably the most realistic year that we can have a discussion where it doesn't feel like, okay, it's the same old thing. Here we go again. But again, now Arch is QB1. I'm in the boat of, I understand that if it does go right, it could look spectacular. But how about we just wait and see? I take the wait and see approach. Because what if he goes out the first game and against Ohio State, he serves up, 2 or 3 picks to Caleb Downs, and everybody's going to be like, oh boy, he is not what we expected. But let's just give it time. Because you look at last season. Yes, he looked great against Mississippi State. No disrespect to Mississippi State, but there's a reason why they were 2-10. He also played against UTSA. Again, no shot at to UTSA, but they are also playing against UT, and we kind of just leave it that how it is. But then you saw him come in for Quinn Ewers against Georgia, and he looked like a deer in headlights. And now that you have the keys to the Ferraris, are you able to drive? That's all we need to know. And again, maybe he goes out and is a great game manager. How about that? Have we ever thought about maybe he goes out and only throws for 2,500 yards, 17 touchdowns, 4 picks, and you look at, Texas may be undefeated, but there's a couple games where they're winning 21-14 or 20-17. Maybe it's okay for him to kind of not be a quote unquote superstar, but a very good quarterback. Because again, Texas has had look at Colt McCoy, if not the best Texas quarterback. Now, Vince Young has the national championships, and you can say that we may never know what happened in 2009 when Colt McCoy got hurt, but all I know is we work with the guy that was on the other end of that national championship game. That'd be one Greg McElroy. He didn't really have to do too much, and he has a national championship. So maybe we can look at Arch and say, hold on. But another thing that Steve Sarkisian talked about was the mental toughness of this Texas football team.
Really challenging the guys on their mental toughness and what that takes and what that entails. That's a reason we practice in the afternoons. because I think that does help develop that mental toughness. When fatigue sets in, can we remain focused? Can we still be attentive to the details? Can we play a consistent brand of football when fatigue sets in, when it's hot, and when we're in the fourth quarter of practice?
All right, Coach. Now you're putting these kids' health at risk, man, with this heat. Now I know the past couple of days here in Alabama has been rather unseasonably cooler than it has been, but this time last week the heat index was touching about 140. You're talking about you got those kids out there in the heat of an afternoon in Texas.
I mean, I will say this: it's not like they're going to be playing in the afternoon in September, so like the heat's still going to be there. Might as well get them used to it. It's the Alabama heat and humidity isn't brutal as you hear from our train reads, but Texas is just as bad. Plus, we're not in fall yet, so might as well get them used to it. So yeah. Oh,
I'm perfectly fine with it. But also, I look at Texas, and kind of to Cole and Greg's point from earlier. If you missed that, the hour one podcast at jocksfm.com, wherever you get your podcasts. But Texas does have that. We got a little bit more money than you got. You see Isaiah Bond last year when he hit the transfer portal to go to Texas, he didn't make no bones about it. Like, he was driving a Ferrari, sitting in robes, getting fed grapes. Like, there was a lot of flash that came with it, but I do think that he's in a unique spot with NIL and how everything is all about the show. He's like, nah, we still got to go out there and play good football, because I've seen how bad it can be. Look at my year one when I got here, and it's like, oh boy, I did not know I was stepping into this mess. But he's built this program into something that is, back-to-back college football playoff appearances that, okay, the expectation is we are still going to be playing football in January, meaningful football, not just a random bowl game. No, we're talking about meaningful football in January. So what are we doing? Are we consistently building towards that? And I think this Texas identity and what they've done the past couple seasons, and you even look at, just the transition to the SEC, everybody's like, oh, man, it's going to be different when you get into the SEC. All they did was make it to Atlanta, and we're in overtime away from beating the eventual SEC champions in Georgia. Now, when Georgia walked into Austin, Texas earlier in the year, that game was a little bit different. But Texas, they took that lick, took it right in the face, dust themselves off. Yeah, they fell short, but you had it was by the judge's decision as opposed from that knockout that you had earlier. You kind of dusted it off. It's like, all right, we see where we made a few mistakes. We see where we were right there, and maybe they can right that ship in 2025. Who knows? But continuing on the SEC coverage, we had Clark Lee, somebody that, again, I remember everybody laughed at Clark Lee at SEC Media Days when he said we were going to turn Vanderbilt into one of the best programs in college football. Then last year they knock off the number one team in the nation in Alabama, and it's like, all right, who's laughing now? Now we're starting to get some Clark Lee. Like, hey, this is not – we ain't here to play. So how did he recap practice from yesterday?
I didn't love the attitude of the team. I told them that afterwards. I think we're a weekend now, and it's probably the residual of just what camp feels like a weekend. But wanted to see more juice, wanted to see more energy in the live periods. I thought we went through the motions a little bit. It doesn't mean that we didn't get good work, because at the end of the day, we got meaningful reps. Just we can't afford to take the field the way we took it today and expect to do the things we set out to do.
See, this is where it starts getting fun. Like, coaches, we give you a grace period 1 or 2 days. Now it's Hey, oh man, I can see it like it was yesterday. First day, just getting the install, a lot of bullets flying. You just want to make sure that everybody's healthy, upright, staying in shape. You're in shorts. Well, now those pads starting to come on, and it's okay. Yeah, you may have shortened that route on day one of camp, the day one of install. We're in day 4. We're in day 5 now. Don't want to see those same mistakes. And I understand fall camp is tough, but the thing is, and I'm not trying to sound like the old man on the hill, it ain't as hard as it used to be. Like, y'all have mandated off days now. So I'm like Clark Lee. I ain't really trying to hear all that and see all that now. It's if we are going to be where we expect to be or where we think we need to be, We got to be able to stack days upon days upon days to ensure that when Saturday rolls around, my team is locked and loaded, ready to go. And think about it. When have we ever – I think that Vanderbilt now, which is kind of cool, like it used to be muscle memory that whenever we got your SEC predicted order finish, Vanderbilt was right there in last place. Like, yeah, Vandy, yeah, okay, Vandy. What does Lee Corso say? Not so fast, my friends. After what we saw last year, now we're starting to see that Vanderbilt has real expectations. And not to say that, when James Franklin was there, it still felt like, oh, yeah, that first year you won 9 games. You caught the SEC East weak at a good time. And then they followed it up again, and it's like, okay, Vanderbilt, we see you. Then he goes to Penn State, and everybody's like, okay, now it's back to normal. But now Clark Lee, he's in there, and he's turned this team into now, especially with Diego Pavia. You look at Cedric Alexander coming back. You got Eli Stowers coming back. I'm not going to sit here and say I expect Vanderbilt to replicate what they did last year. But I do think now going into some Saturdays when we start giving off predictions, I gotta take a step back and look and say, you know what? Is this even an upset anymore? Is Vanderbilt the better team going into this ball game? I think about the Auburn game last year where I think earlier in the week the line opened up. I think Auburn was like a 2-point favorite. And then as we got closer to kickoff, you see the money from not to say Vegas swayed anything, but by kickoff, Vanderbilt was the favorite on the road in Jordan-Hare. And I never once thought that I would ever see the day where I'm like, man, Vanderbilt ain't about to go in here and beat up on Auburn. Like, no, that's not going to happen. And it happened. And it did. And Vanderbilt was the more physical team than Auburn. Like, I never thought those words would ever be uttered, that Vanderbilt was more physical, was the better team. And now they are sitting here in this position where you mess around and go up to Nashville, Tennessee, and think you're just going to, play your B- or B+ game and come out with a victory. Those days, I think, may be over.
This man had the 5th ever bowl win for Vanderbilt.
Ever,
yeah.
I remember we was doing that practice earlier in the summer with Indiana, and we were all kind of like, oh, yeah, how many bowl games do you think Indiana's won or been to? And we're like, maybe 10. They're like, how about 9? It's like, what? Like, what? It can't be that bad. But I'm excited to see what the SEC looks like. And again, when you look at, we look at Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby. I think Jeff Lebby across the board has the respect from just about everybody that you talk to. It's just an unfortunate situation that he's put in. But the thing is, he makes no excuses about it. When we hear from Brian Haydad, when he hops on the show with us and he discusses, he makes no bones about it. We were not an SEC football team. We just weren't. Not to say that, but the one thing that you could not deny is that Mississippi State, game in, game out, they just didn't lay down. It was just, man, we ain't talented enough, but by God, we are still going to be fighting. We're still going to be clawing. And I think that's what has made Mississippi State the team that they are. It's the fact that they just never give up. Like they may just not be talented enough, but by God, they are going to die fighting. And I think, with Mike Leach coming in and his untimely death, and then the transition from him to Zach Arnett, who I just don't think was ready to be a head coach, especially not in the SEC, it was an identity shift. And then Jeff Lebby's kind of coming in with the bones absolutely bare. And it's like, man, I have got some work to do. But he never, not once did you think like, man, this Mississippi State team ain't, like they're just laying down. Nah, they just weren't talented enough to make those plays. Because you look at the game they had against Georgia on the road, and it's like, wait a minute. You look at that score, and it's like, why is Mississippi State all of a sudden in a dog, no pun intended, in a dog fight with Georgia? Like, what? It's because they weren't afraid. They literally gave everything they possibly could. So I think that when you look at the SEC, there's more parity than there has been in years past where, I mean, you look at the logjam between, team 4 to team 12, and it's like, you could tell me that Oklahoma is going to end up being the 4th best team in the SEC. I could believe you. You could tell me Auburn is going to be the 4th best team in the SEC. I can believe you. You could tell me Alabama may be the 4th best team in the SEC. I could believe you. Because I do think Texas is kind of that, they're sitting at the top spot But everybody else on any given Saturday, I can honestly think that, hey, anything could possibly happen. But that's what makes the SEC so fun, and I think that was what we're going to get in 2025. So we'll continue with the SEC conversation on the other side. Again, you can, if you want to text in, call in 205-834-9450 for any of the topics that we talked about earlier with the SEC offensive or defensive players of the year. Just the run game in general. Is it back in the SEC? We want to hear from you. The floor is yours, 205-834-9450. We'll keep it going on the other side. Keep it locked here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
9:19 here on Jocks. McElroy Cubelic in the morning. Damian Mitchell, John Saybear here with you. Appreciate the guys allowing us to tag in as they get ready for their college football season, going over all the tricks and trades and the news and notes that they got to make sure they have when they deliver their broadcast on Saturdays.
Speaking to all the power commissioners.
All of them?
Sankey was on in with them yesterday. Cole was going over the schedule with me before the show. They get for TD, they get ACC. They get. He's getting all of them today. Yeah.
Now you see, Sankey went first, right? Because,
I mean, of course.
Come on now, SEC baby, just means more.
Not only went first, but the only commissioner on that day.
Let's go.
Everyone else is kind of just stuffed in today.
Come on, man.
We'll when we have time for you, Knowles, like we'll get to you.
I love it, man. I love it. Appreciate the guys letting us have some fun here on the show. 205-834-9450. You can text in, call in. Just discussing some of the SEC fall camp updates and just kind of the landscape of everything. And we kind of discussed, is the SEC getting back to the ground and pound? I guess it's RPO, but I think a lot of defensive coaches will tell you much rather run the risk of them passing the ball on the RPO action if they read it right, because, again, the chances are incomplete pass are a little bit higher than, a 4-yard run that you can't really, contain. It's like, man, here we go. And I love the fact, and of course, Cole is, chairman of the Joe Moore Award. And I think it's kind of interesting whenever I get a chance to kind of like just hear him and kind of rack his brain of how offensive line is looked at now because of the changing landscape of football, where I think he's from the old school ground and pound. Like, he knows what road graders look like when it comes to like laying down and just absolutely when it's time to, when there's 3 minutes left in the ball game, his front five know it's on us. Whereas now, because of the rules of the game, offensive linemen can't be, so many yards down the field on these RPOs. It's hard to find those true maulers anymore, where it's like, nah, that's a guard that if they're running power, that's exactly who they're running behind. And I think that's why you see so much of the run game being so wide, or they kind of hide it or disguise it with zones and stuff, because now you can work your way up, where as long as you just put a hand on somebody, it's up to the running back to make the decision. Or I need to make this cut here. Do I bounce it outside? Do I get up in between the tackles? And you see a lot of, just kind of the style of runs are a little bit different. And even on the defense side, you look at linebackers now. There ain't too many more Brian Urlachers or Ray Lewis's in the middle of anymore. It's more sleek, athletic guys like a Deontay Lawson. Like, we look at Deontay Lawson as one of the better linebackers, but he ain't, but like 220, maybe 230 at the heaviest. But long gone are the James Laurinaitis years of, 255, 260 with the neck roll. Like, those days are gone. But I think that it's still the identity and the makeup of what makes college football, or football in general. You still got to be able to run the football. So we want to hear from you on the Jocks text line. People are texting in. D texts in, says, Crimson looks good on you, Damien. Appreciate it. Roll Tide. Somebody texts in and says, worth noting that Hugh Freeze has lost Diego Pavia 3 times. I wasn't going to bring it up, but that is an actual fact. It's a fact. Beat him at Liberty and beat him at Auburn twice with 2 different schools, with New Mexico State coming in that day, and a game that Auburn fans tend to forget, but it did happen. You lost to him there at New Mexico State, and also while he was at Liberty, you lost to him at New Mexico State. And then when he got to Vanderbilt, The tune is still the same. And I think for Diego Pavia, kind of discussing Diego Pavia, and you heard Clark Lee's discussion of, just where his team was. They were just going through the motions. I find that difficult to believe because of the fact that Diego Pavia has kind of pushed himself into this. I'm not going to say, you know what, I will say it. I think he's kind of the villain of the SEC. But you know what? I think it's more anti-hero. I think he's more anti-hero because it's the fact that you like his moxie as long as it's not against your team that he's doing this to. But he's also doing this at Vanderbilt. Now, I think it'd be a little bit different if he was doing this at Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, where it's like, I do not want to see that guy. But he's given Vanderbilt this kind of edge where nobody expected it. And I think when you look at Diego Pavia, no, he's not the most talented quarterback, but I think he's the most valuable quarterback in the SEC. I kind of look at him. I would say DJ Lagway and Lenore Sellers are in that mode, in that kind of tier. But I would put Diego Pavia as one of the most valuable, not just valuable quarterback. I think he's one of the most valuable players in the SEC because of the fact if he goes down, couldn't tell you what Vanderbilt's going to look like. I think he gives them that certain edge where you got a little bit of hope. Like if he was anywhere else, like I don't think he would start over DJ Lagway. Don't think he would start over Garrett Nussmeier. Don't necessarily think he would start over Lenore. I don't think he would start over Lenore Sellers. I don't think he would start over John Mateer. But you could have a conversation. If he was at Auburn right now, I think that Auburn would feel a lot better about their season than they do right now with the quote-unquote unknown of Jackson Arnold. Like, have we seen Jackson Arnold at his full capacity? Whereas if you would have put Diego Pavia on that Vanderbilt team, on that Oklahoma team last year, even with the injuries, I think that Oklahoma fans would be like, you know what? I think we can rock with this because of the fact that he's going to make something out of completely nothing. And I think Jackson Arnold, not necessarily, I don't think talent-wise he couldn't have done it, but I think once he lost it between the ears, all hope was lost. Like getting benched and then getting back into the starting lineup. And it's kind of that, okay, where's his confidence at? Whereas Diego Pavia, you ain't even got to coach the confidence. You know, as soon as he takes that first snap, like, yeah, he thinks he can throw this thing all over the yard and also run this thing all over the yard.
So you feel that more so than Taylor Green? Is that because you just don't know what Vanderbilt has as backup?
Right.
And you feel like the moxie that Diego is displaying is permeating over the team. Well, not just his combination of his confidence and, well, more so Clark Lee's confidence in the aura that Diego brings. So if they lose that, no matter what's back there, they could have the second coming of Cam Newton as the backup when you just maybe because we just don't know. Whereas Taylor, and also maybe the expectations we have of them, we expect them, if they fall back to earth, okay, kind of we figured that, but maybe as Arkansas, we kind of feel like they're a little bit on the rise. Like, okay, like they got things seemingly right with Bobby Petrino, and the hot seat talk has dialed back a little bit. Second year back in, it's like, all right, let's see what can happen. But then again, Taylor Green goes down. It's like, all right, well, what's Arkansas now?
Yeah, and I really do like Taylor Green. I've made it a point, like, man, he's kind of like my dark horse of if Arkansas is going to have success, it's going to be because of him. But I don't know if Arkansas is in a different situation if you were to swap. Like, if I had a quarterback swap between Diego Pavia and Taylor Green, I don't think it changes the expectations for either one. I think it just gives Arkansas a little bit more of an edge where, Taylor Green, outside of SEC media days, you don't really hear too much about him, but I think his talent, because we've seen, like, he's a long strider. He can make some difficult throws, but he's just inconsistent enough where it's like, yeah, I can see. Because again, like that Oklahoma State game just should not have happened. It shouldn't have happened. And I think if Diego Pavia was in some of those situations, I don't think he would make some of those throws. But then again, he's shown that he can also make some boneheaded decisions as well. So it's kind of like tit for tat. I think he would start over Marcel Reed at Texas A&M. Now I will say this: you put Diego Pavia at Texas A&M. Yeah, like I would really start to sweat if I was a defense. Like, man, oh man, this is like great value Johnny Manziel back there. Like, he's gonna make some absolutely spectaculars, but he's also gonna be like, oh boy. But Johnny Manziel actually divvied that up of he didn't make the dumb decisions. He just made dumb plays look extremely smart. But also he's throwing to Mike Evans on the other side too, which it kind of, that's Jameis Winston. You can go 30 for 30 and still look at it like, hey, I gave Mike Evans 1,000, got him 1,000. But I think that for Diego Pavia, it's now he wants the target on his back. Like, he's just crazy enough of, nah, I want the smoke. Bring it to me. And it's like, man, you play at Vanderbilt, dude. Like, calm down. Like, nah, I'm here. And I think that win over Alabama, it's like, okay, now we see why he's a little bit crazy, because he's just crazy enough to be pretty doggone good. But then you also see that they lost to Georgia State. And it's like, okay. Now, if he was at Kentucky, I still don't think they would win more than 4 games, but they'd be a little bit more entertaining. But I also don't think him and Mark Stoops would get along too. Actually, you know what? Because the more I listen to Mark Stoops, he got a little bit of that crazy in him too. But his is just like, I would much rather us run the ball and punch me into a coma than have my quarterback out here jibber jabber. And it's like, hey, big dog, like, settle down. We're not even asking you to throw the ball 15 times today. Like, we're just going to go out here and run this football. But I think that when I look at the SEC and when I look at Diego Pavia as the quarterback, if he were at a lot of other places, he could sway a couple games. I really do. But I think that the cream of the crop with the Lagways, Nussmeyers, and Sellers, I don't necessarily think he's up to that level. And even Mateer, I don't think he's necessarily up to that level. But I think that if he were at Alabama, I think he would have solidified QB1. I honestly think if he was in that mix with Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell, I think that, and to be honest, I think Alabama fans wouldn't even be too upset that, yeah, like, we'll take it, because game in and game out, what you're going to get. You're going to get a guy that, one, ain't scared of anything. He stares adversity directly in the face and says, I want this. I will put the team on my back and see where we go from here. But also, if you surround him with that kind of talent, it only elevates the moxie, I guess you would say. But also, if you put him at Texas, does he have the same hype as an Arch Manning? Like, if Arch was at Vanderbilt, do we still have the same conversations of, oh man, like, this Vanderbilt team may be potentially a national championship contender? Who knows? But we'll keep the conversation going. On the other side, 205-834-9450. We see you on the phone lines, the text lines. Just keep them coming. We'll get to you on the other side. Keep it locked right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
Welcome back into McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Damian Mitchell, John Saybear here with you, filling in for the guys as they get ready for the college football seminar. Again, we appreciate them so much as they continue to deliver some of the best broadcasts across college football. And they want to make sure they fine-tune everything, get all the notes they can to prepare, and make sure that they deliver a great and insightful broadcast. But let me tell you something. How about you come celebrate the kickoff to college football with us at the Bill Smith Buick GMC Jocks kickoff party at Regents Field on Thursday, August 21st. And the only way to go is by winning tickets. To win a pair of tickets for you and a guest, text the keyword TIDE, T-I-D-E, and your full name to 205-834-9450. Again, the keyword is TIDE, like Roll Tide, T-I-D-E, and your full name to 205-834-9450. Winners are drawn and notified daily. For more information, visit JocksFM.com. Let's go to the phone line. Somebody that actually won't be at the Jocks kickoff party because he's got a little vacation going on. It's our buddy Don wants to talk with us this morning. What's going on, Don?
Hello, Damien. First of all, buddy, I had a great time debating you yesterday, but I do concede that you whooped my butt, my friend.
I got you, man. I don't even think you needed to concede. I think the poll said it. It's fine though. I appreciate it.
Well, of course they did. But I tell you who's upset though. Bama hater. I've been talking to him a lot yesterday. He thinks he won, so he disagrees with your pose. But I definitely agree with the pose that you kicked my butt. But that was fun, buddy. And I thought me and you kept it more civil than. Boy, Conrad was fired up. His face was turning red, man.
Absolutely. Hey, you mess with Conrad and his Crimson Tide, yeah, you better be ready.
Okay, but on your question about about offense and defensive MVPs, I'm not sure. I mean, I've been driving, so I don't know if you saw my text or not, but I really like my boy Singleton's chances to be the offensive MVP. I think he's just going to have a huge year, and he's probably going to be. And with you being a receiver, he's probably going to be our first wide receiver to have 1,000 yards since Ronnie Daniels. That's my prediction.
So, okay. Didn't you say last year that Cam Coleman was Calvin Johnson 2.0, and now all of a sudden another receiver is going to come in? Another receiver is going to come in and be SEC Offensive Player of the Year?
Now, Cam had a good year, but you know what? I was wrong, and I admitted yesterday I was wrong a lot. I was wrong on that because he dropped a lot of passes last year, Dave. He really did. And reading the practice report the other day, the best pass Jackson Arnold threw in the whole practice, Cam dropped it.
Yeah, that's one thing that'll keep you off the field. That'll keep you from having success.
Okay, but on your running back analogy though, I agree with you, man. I mean, Auburn has to have a good running game to really succeed. I mean, I know they're going to have hopefully have a good passing game. We'll see what Jackson Arnold's all about. You know, I told you yesterday that my confidence level on him was about 60-40. We'll see everything because, you know, but I don't think he's going to throw as many interceptions as our quarterbacks did last year, mainly Thorne. Because Thorne had like 2 games where he threw 5 interceptions in 2 games. Now, the key thing on my team this year, D and John, is my field goal kicker's back. McPherson's back. So that.
If ever you needed any evidence to wonder why he lost the debate.
Thank you.
That was it right there.
Like we went from Jackson Arnold not being Peyton Thorne on board with it. Absolutely. Because you know what? If you score more touchdowns, you ain't even got to worry about your field goal kicker, dog. Like, you ain't got to worry about it.
And field goal kicking, yes, while poor last year, would not have affected any of the outcomes. There was one guy was like, oh, if we just made that one, okay, you would have lost by 4 instead of 7. Oh, okay, so what? That's your homeboy, man.
Man, hey.
I don't know.
I feel like, again, no disrespect to special teams. They are a third of the game. They really are. They are very, very important. But in saying that, the goal of your offense is to score touchdowns. No, not every possession is going to lead to touchdowns. But the thing is, you want to get as close to the end zone as you possibly can to make it a little bit easier for your kicker. And, again, yes, Auburn had some issues in the kicking game. They really did. But you know how you can disguise that? By scoring touchdowns. Because if we're having a conversation of them missing extra points, then, yeah, we'll go for 2 to even increase the point value. But, yeah. I think, your defense is – when I look at Auburn, the only question marks I really, really have, both offensively and defensively, on the offensive side – because, again, I think Jackson Arnold is immensely talented. I really, really do. I think that if it all goes right and he has it between the ears, like he doesn't lose the confidence that Hugh Freeze is manufacturing for him, I think he can get it done. I really, really do. The pieces are there. You just need to put it somewhere around them, and they will do the rest. You have too many weapons at your disposal for you to fail. I really believe that. I just think you have to marry that up with the run game. What if it's a monsoon outside? Think of Ole Miss and Georgia last year. Well, Ole Miss, I never once thought that I was ever going to see that Ole Miss was going to run the football down Georgia's throat, and that exactly happened. What if there's a game where Jackson Arnold, it's slippery outside? You got to run the football. I've seen Damari Austin fumble on the way to the end zone. I've seen it happen. I've also seen Jeremiah Cobb come in and spell things, but also we need to see if Hugh Freeze can commit to running the football. And that's another part where you had the best running back in the league last year in Jarquez Hunter, and you still didn't find a way to just give it to him. Like in the Iron Bowl, they gave it to Jarquez Hunter for him to throw the ball. Like, Jarquez Hunter ain't your quarterback, man. Peyton Thorne is. He could have thrown the same interception for you in a regular drop back, but you decided to run a trick play and you put him in that position. If everybody that I've read and everything that I've seen, that Auburn's offensive line is better. That's amazing, but you have to commit to them. If they are better, make us show us on Saturdays that you believe that they're better. Run the football. And I think that will separate Auburn from being a decent to good to great football team. It really, really will. Defensively, I don't have any question marks on the front seven. I think what you got and Malik Blockton, Keldrick Falk, DeMarcus Riddick, that front seven, they going to be good. The only question I have is the secondary. Now, they're telling me that Caden Lee and Champ Anthony are doing well in the secondary. That's great. But are they locked down? Like, are they going to be guys that say, like, nah, man, it is going to be difficult to get open on these DBs? Because I do think DJ Durkin is one of the best, if not the best defensive coordinator right now in the SEC. He was not the Achilles heel defensively last year. He wasn't. Like, he was putting those guys in some great positions. They were just young. That was the only thing. They were just young. Now those guys, year 2 in the system, it's okay, we can probably pin our ears back and let these boys play, especially up front. I have no question marks on Auburn front seven. I don't think there's going to be many teams that can just line up and say, hey, we are running down Auburn's throat. No, I don't see that happen. I really do not. The only get is going to be the secondary. And again, that's just what's going. I got to see it week to week. But I have optimism in this Auburn team. And again, Jackson Arnold, if he is not the head case, I am not even worried about Auburn offensively because they're going to be able to score some points. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Like the scheme that Hugh Freeze runs, they're designed to put up a lot of points and a lot of yards. It's just decision-making at the quarterback position. And I think that's what held Auburn back last year with Peyton Thorne. And again, his receivers didn't necessarily help. Now, in year 1, it was just a complete mess. It was. The receiver core was not even close to being good. Last year, you had the talent, and again, they were young too. But Keandre Lambert-Smith ended up being your number 1 guy. And, I mean, if you watch the Hall of Fame game the other day, it looks like he may mess around there and find him a roster spot. But also, I think the decision-making at the quarterback position, it just has to be those winning plays, like those third and mediums, those third and shorts. You got to be able to make the plays when they're called. So, didn't think I was going to go down that rabbit hole, but I do think that Auburn should, as an Auburn fan, like you should be confident. But also there is a error of caution in there because it could be bad. It could be, but we shall see. 205-834-9450. We'll hear from you on the other side before we wrap things up here on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
Who's this?
This is Chris Cornell, the lead singer of Soundgarden and Audioslave.
Hi.
In a song called Can't Change Me.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that. Okay, Chris Cornell, I was unfamiliar with the game, brother. I do like that. Welcome back into McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Damian Mitchell, John Saber here with you for a few more moments as we get you set for a 3-man front coming up at the top of the hour. And we want to hear from you before we get up out of here. 205-834-9450. You can text, you can call in. Somebody texts in completely off topic, but Auburn should have hired Cadillac Williams to be their head coach. Well, we're 3 years in now, man. That ship has kind of sailed. And again, no disrespect to Cadillac Williams, he was not ready to be a head coach in the SEC. Like that was, I mean, there's a lot of love though, a lot of love because I mean he was 1,000%. He bled orange and blue. He probably still does. But he was not prepared to step into that mess for all the think about all the things that these coaches have to deal with, and you trying to put that on Cadillac? Like, come on, man. Now coaching running backs, 1,000%. But as far as the day-to-day processing and trying to recruit and doing all this stuff, public speaking, and like, how mad would people have been if Cadillac Williams was on the golf course during this recruiting period?
Y'all remember he went 2-2, right?
Right.
And one of those was Western Kentucky. And yes, it was a great win, the home win against Texas A&M and all that. But the week before, he lost to Mississippi State in overtime.
Right. Like, yeah. Like, again, love Cadillac Williams. Absolutely love Cadillac Williams. But I don't think he was ready to be a head coach. Scotty in Alpine, he takes in, Auburn has all the tools and talent this year. The only question they have is Hugh Freeze. I just read the text messages. Let's go to the phone line. Let's go to our buddy Robert in Greenville. Wants to talk some ball with us this morning. What's going on, Robert?
Morning. How you doing, Damian?
Man, no complaints, brother.
Yeah, listen, I know you're a huge Tennessee Titans fan, but there's some news that came out Friday night. I don't know if you're aware of. Marlon Davidson's from right here in Greenville, was traded to the Houston Texans.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. I was caught off guard by it Friday night. I saw that. And, look, I'm hoping Marlon – I'm a fan of fans, you know, but I like to pull for our local fellas. And Marlon is a great guy, first of all. I'm just hoping that they can find a right fit. Some people say he's not explosive enough on the edge or not big enough playing inside, but they run that 4-3 a lot like the 49ers do. Mm-hmm. And also he's finally on a good team. Everywhere he went, whether it was Tennessee or year he was at San Francisco, they had injuries, and with Atlanta under Arthur Smith, and I'm hoping now he's a more stable environment that he could not only win a roster spot but help be on a playoff team for a change. Whereas Darius Smith, on the other hand, he's still looking for a free agent deal. Remember, he was with Detroit end of last season, mm-hmm. and he's got 9 or 10 teams on his wish list. And he's from here in Greenville too. So you don't see these towns, the population of 7,273, that have 2 players who are in the NFL.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to talk about was Alabama right quick. Look, I think the difference in this year with the running game is going to be noticeable. If they can keep Jim Miller healthy, that's the biggest key. There is a lot of talent with Richard Young and the Hill kid and all these other backs. But I think the key also is the offensive line. I mean, Wilbur Thornby, I've heard, has come light years since end of last year. The right tackle position is still a bit of concern for me. I like the fact they're cross-training the Michigan State transfer for left guard, the right guard. I don't think it says anything bad about Jalen Roberts. And also Kalen Proctor, from what I've heard, has kept his weight down. I also think the other key is defensively. I mean, because of injuries, they had to play a lot of freshmen in that secondary last year, and I think they're going to be better. I just think, and they had to get used to playing more zone coverage. They had to get used more to disguising things, because most of these teams nowadays, so many good passing quarterbacks you see in high school football, especially on the 6'5", 6'8", 7'8" level in Alabama, and Georgia and wherever they're facing man coverage. They're playing man coverage a lot. I just think I just think there's a different feel. There's a lot more intensity. There's a lot more attention to detail. There's a lot less nonsense going on. I watched a piece on SEC Network the other night. Their strength coach is not taking any prisoners this year. Look, Florida State's going to be a much tougher game, people think, because of the fact that they got Gus Malzahn, who always seems to have Alabama's number most years, especially when he was at Auburn, and Jordan Hare. But I think this Alabama team's going to go 11-2.
Okay.
I think the only loss will be to Oklahoma.
Oh.
And get this. Well, Oklahoma has a bye week the same week Alabama plays LSU. And the other loss is to Texas in the SEC championship game. I just don't see – I know LSU is going to be good, but look, I still got to see more of their defense. And what I heard on a report the other day was LSU's offensive line did not have they ran a scrimmage, not a mini scrimmage Saturday, and LSU's offensive line really struggled. And you get Matt Moscona on here, all he said was, well, LSU's offensive line's going to plug and play with 2 transfers.
Yeah.
But look, I don't care if you have 4 transfers.
Yeah.
The offensive line is not a plug and play position.
It ain't. The show ain't. Man. Yeah, me worried. I was like, wait a minute. Like, you said Alabama's going to beat LSU, and then he starts going down the LSU route. I'm like, okay, bro. Like, I got you. But he predicted a loss to Oklahoma. Brent Venables going to keep his job if he mess around and do that.
You acting like we ain't seen that before.
I know, but
Conrad made it happen last year, so wouldn't be surprised if he made it happen again.
Hey, that means John Mateer's about to be in the Heisman Trophy talk. That's what's about to happen. Now, that's fun. It's fun. Appreciate Cole and Greg letting me and John hop on in today as they get ready for their college football season. Also, thank you to Jim Donnan, who joined us in the first hour, for former Georgia football coach, and also just his tie with Ashton Daniels, the quarterback there at Auburn, and some of the ties he had with him and his family. Appreciate y'all locking in with us. 3-man front coming up at the top of the hour. Keep it locked all day here on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.